Punch! Yep, no matter what way you put it, being hurled through a wall hurts. It's funny, just a few short months ago I would have argued that the dreaded atomic wedgie was the most common indignity I'd suffered throughout my life. It's not such a bad thing, especially when one considers that the proportion of ass-crack-related incidents in one's life tends to decrease dramatically post-high school. After all, most people just won't give a wedgie to another grown-up. Why? Well, my personal theory is that part of becoming an adult means that we start asking much deeper questions about life than when we were kids. One such question being, do I really want to put my hands where this person's dirty ass has been? That being said, getting thrown through the air to crash into and sometimes through solid objects was becoming a disturbingly common occurrence in my life as of late. Considering the overall painfulness of such experiences, I was beginning to find myself oddly nostalgic about just having my underwear bunched up my ass by some prankster. Just in case you're taking notes, brick and concrete were easily the least fun barriers I have been smashed into. However, your basic wooden load-bearing wall, which oddly enough was what I found myself plowing into now, wasn't exactly a vacation in the Caribbean either. If I kept this up, I might have to consider starting a blog about all the scenic walls in the tri-state area and what it felt like to be flung through each and every one of them. Although perhaps right now wasn't exactly an ideal time to think about blogging. I was just starting to pull myself back to my feet when a dark, angry form emerged from the shadows. It was Samuel. He was the leader of a coven of vampires from Queens that called themselves the HBC. This was due to their home territory, including the Howard Beach area. It was a stupid name, but considering my own group was known as the Village Coven due to being headquartered in fucking Soho, I was probably in no position to be throwing stones. Apparently, it was tradition to name covens after their territories. Sure, you wound up with some silly names. I'd even heard there was a Scout Run coven in Pennsylvania, which was bad for them because they would forevermore be known in my mind as the Scrotum Coven. All things considered, though, it probably beat the alternative. If every coven were given free rein for names, I have little doubt we'd wind up with dopey crap like the Blood Brotherhood, the Midnight Raiders, or maybe the Sons of Darkness. In short, we'd all sound like retarded local chapters of the Legion of Doom. Trust me, I speak from experience here. My own coven had a rule not too long ago regarding taking new personal pseudonyms upon joining. As a result, we wound up with stupid shit like people calling themselves Rage Vector, Night Razor, and of course, Dr. Death. So, all things considered, I could probably live with Village Coven. Still, worrying about things like coven names is probably best left to times when you're not in danger of getting your head torn off. This was not such a time. Samuel leapt at me, no doubt going for the kill. Well, okay, maybe that's a bit obvious. After all, you typically don't fling yourself through the air at people you're having a polite conversation with. Fortunately for me, I was far from out of it. I may not be able to dish it out as well as some others, but I can definitely take it. See, I'm a vampire too, just in case you haven't figured that out yet. I also have a lot of aforementioned experience getting tossed around. You build up a tolerance to it after a while. Those two things combined allowed me to recover quickly enough to snatch a busted 2x4 from out of the rubble of the safe house wall I had just plowed through. Before Samuel could fully cover the distance, I swung the beam and connected with a solid kapow. Samuel went flying back into the shadows whence he came. That gave me a breather, but I didn't have any delusions that it would be nearly enough to finish him. I'd been told that Samuel was nearly 200 years old. As we vampires tend to get stronger as we get older, that made him both a lot more powerful as well as much more experienced than me. Neither one was a checkmark in my favor. Under different circumstances, I should have probably been counting my lucky stars that I was still alive. If this had been my first tussle with a vampire way out of my league, I'd probably be busy either begging for my life or kissing my ass goodbye. However, it wasn't.